Hi, I'm Randy Nesse from the Arizona State University Center for Evolutionary Medicine. Our special guest today is Jenny Tung from Duke University, where she is in the Department of Anthropology and also in our partner center, the Duke Triangle Center for Evolutionary Medicine. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you.
So you study evolution and adversity in early life and how that harms health, but not with humans.
Nope, I don't study humans.
What do you study?
I primarily study baboons in Africa, wild baboons, and I also study rhesus macaques, which are an Asian primate, and we do most of that work in captive animals.
So the project you're in Africa is a very long-standing, distinguished project, right?
It is. I'm very fortunate to be able to work on it. So the population that I study are completely wild. They live in southern Kenya, just right near the Kenyan and Tanzanian border. And the reason that I study them actually is in part because there's such long-term data. People started watching these baboons, or at least their ancestors, their grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents, in 1971. That was due to the foresight of Gene Altman and Stuart Altman, who are currently at Princeton University. And we've been out there basically every day, other than Sundays, since 1971.
Wow. So my dear friend Barbara Smuts, of course, spent many years in the field, sometimes alone with the baboons for months and months and months at a time. Do you do that kind of thing, going off by yourself with the baboons?
Not by myself. It's quite an operation now. So we have a permanent field site, which maybe sounds fancier than it is. We live in tents. They're nice tents, but they're tents. And we have a team of 3 field assistants who've been with the project for many years, and they go out every day, and we are often out there and join them for a month or 2 at a time. And so we're never by ourselves, but we are in a small crew.
So you don't just write notes about what they're doing, you measure a bunch of things.
We measure all kinds of things.
How many different variables are you measuring?
Oh.
Too many to count, practically.
I don't think we've ever tried to count that. So
what are some of the kinds of things that you measure?
Yeah, so we're really interested in their day-to-day lives. And so we keep track of who's in a group together and how they interact with each other, both whether they are friendly to one another, for example, if they're grooming one another, if they are sexually active with one another, if they are nasty to each other, if they express what we call aggressive interactions.
How about if they're sick someday? Do you keep track of when they're sick?
We try. It turns out baboons are very tough, and they don't always let you know when they're sick. But we do keep good records of when we see diarrhea or coughing or broken bones or limps or wounds, and we know when they heal and so on. So, yep, we can do all that observationally.
So what's the ratio of bad things that happens to baboons? More likely from bacteria and viruses, or more likely from other baboons?
Well, those things can be entangled with one another, because if I reached over and scratched open your face right now, that might
Please
be
don't.
Yeah, I'll try not to, but that would be the immediate insult. But then you'd be vulnerable to bacteria and viruses too. Actually, it turns out baboons are remarkably resistant to typical types of bacterial-related problems that influence humans.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they're tough animals.
So you measure some things other than observational things as well. What else do you measure?
Well, every once in a while, our project is primarily observational, meaning we usually don't touch them at all. In fact, the prime directive, as it were, is for them not to care that we exist, either in a positive way or in a negative way, like we don't want to feed them or something like that. But every once in a while, we need to collect blood samples or make measurements of how heavy they are or how tall they are, and for that we will occasionally dart an animal in our study population and draw blood, and that allows us to do a lot of genetic work, and also make some of these other types of...
So you can measure blood things and genetic things and weight and height and when they were born and how fast they grow and all kinds of things. There's some fabulous answers I bet you can get from this. Let's go on in just a minute to what you know about early adversity and how that influences health.
Sure.